Hey, what's up YouTubers? Luce here with another pool video. Today's video is going to be about the pros and cons of pool ownership. Maybe you're in the market of having a pool installed in your backyard, or maybe you're going to buy a house with a swimming pool already there. I'm going to tell you about pool ownership from a homeowner's perspective. Maybe this will help you make a better informed decision on whether or not you're going to get that pool. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so these are the basics for my pool, alright? I have a 12,000 gallon pool, alright? In-ground concrete. It uses a saltwater chlorinator for sanitation. It has a single speed pump with 4 paper cartridge filters. And it's got 2 skimmers, and the overall shape is a kidney shape. Alright, so here's my pool. Alright, you can see it's kidney shaped. Got some steps leading down. It's about 3.5 feet on the shallow end, going all the way to about 6 feet on the deep end. Alright, so in order for you to have a diving board, I guess regulation or code says that you need about 8 feet. Alright, so no diving in my pool. Right here I have a I guess it's called a tanning bench. Alright, it's partially in the water. Alright, these are the skim pots. Let me show you real quick. So they're basically drains, alright? You look down in there, there's a drain pipe that goes all the way to the pool pump and into the filters. I have 2 of these. I'm going to head over here and show you my equipment. So, that right there is your pool pump. Mine is a single speed. Alright, I'll get into the different types of pumps a little bit later. The water gets sucked in through there. That right there is called a pool defender. That is a sacrificial anode rod. Alright, similar to the anode rod that you might have in your water heater. Alright, I'll talk about that in a second. That's a diverter valve or a backwash valve. Now, since I have a paper cartridge filter, which is inside there, I can't backwash my filters like you could with a sand filter or a DE, diatomaceous earth filters. Alright, so basically if I open that valve up, water, instead of going into the filter there, it'll just get pumped straight out here. Alright, so water gets filtered through there. I got 4 paper cartridge filters in there. Then it exits out there and goes through this, what's called a saltwater chlorinator. Alright, and then back to the returns. Alright, pretty simple. Alright, those are the basics of my pool. Alright, so if you're watching this video, you're basically trying to figure out whether or not it'd be a good idea to get a pool. So many different factors involved when trying to decide a pool, what type of pool you want to get. In-ground pool or above-ground pool, right? I don't know much about above-ground pools, so I'm not going to really talk about them. In-ground pools, you basically have 3, actually there's more than 3, but there's 3 of the most popular ones, which is in-ground concrete, in-ground fiberglass, in-ground vinyl liner, right? We decided on getting a in-ground concrete pool for a couple reasons. The durability, for one. The concrete will last, 15, 20, 30 years indefinitely, as long as you take good care of it. All right. With vinyl line pools, you do have to replace the vinyl liner every few years. It all depends on how you take care of it, environmental, weather conditions, whether or not you have any type of breach in the liner, anything like that. There are some advantages of vinyl liner. One is that you don't hear too many issues with people with vinyl line pools having algae issues in the liner. Right, the algae can't really bond to the liner as you can with like concrete. That is an issue you have with concrete pools because they're somewhat porous. The concrete is actually lined with plaster, and you do get algae buildup in the plaster Even if you do everything you're supposed to do, like add an algaecide and brush your pool, several times a week, eventually there's a good possibility that you will get algae buildup, all right? Especially if algae is present or prevalent in the area that you live in, okay? So basically think about those three types of pools you want to get. Once you decide on that, I will tell you about the cost. I think the initial cost of a concrete pool is probably the most expensive, okay? So you decide on one of those pools and figure out and go from there. Look for a pool company that you want to choose to build your pool. Do your research online, all right? Don't get just one estimate. You're going to get several estimates, all right? And the prices on pools, they vary greatly depending on what you want. Now, my pool is very basic. I went for the absolute basics. Don't have a deep pool. You can't go diving in my pool. That's going to lower the cost a little bit. I don't have a pool heater, okay, for a couple reasons. Pool company actually advised me against getting a pool heater. So I live in Maryland, in Harford County. If the water temperature is too cold to go into, chances are the outside air temperature is also too cold. So even if you heated up the pool water, it won't be very comfortable, like getting out of the pool and stuff like that. And for me, it's all about personal preference, but for me, I go in the pool to cool down. So yeah, why bother getting a pool heater? Okay, it's also very expensive to heat your pool. You actually, here in Maryland, you might get a couple more weeks of use, maybe 4 weeks of use at the most, but for the most part, I don't think it's worth it. Even the pool company, the guys that are going to make money off of me, they even advised me that it probably wouldn't be a good use of money. All right, so take that into consideration. So I have for sanitation, I use a saltwater chlorinator. All right, how does that work? Well, basically you have to have salt water. It's not so salty that you can actually taste it. It's not like ocean water, all right, seawater. You basically have salt water in your pool. The water goes into a chlorine generator. In my case, I have a Pentair saltwater chlorinator, and from there, it actually it does some type of gives it some type of electrical charge, and it slowly puts out chlorine as needed. So it actually is a better use of chlorine than a traditional chlorine pool. Okay. Salt water is a little bit better on your skin. I think that overall long-term costs are a little bit lower than having chlorine, right? And you don't have to mess around with chlorine. So now with a saltwater chlorinator, you can't use it if the water temperature is below 60 degrees. Well, you probably won't be swimming your pool anyway. Not a big deal. But if you open your pool early, like I do here in Maryland, I open it up in like April. The saltwater chlorinator probably won't start working until like May, when the water temperature gets above 60 degrees, and works much better when it's above 70 degrees. Okay, so in that interim time from when the temperature warms up, you actually, even with the saltwater pool, you have to use chlorine, traditional chlorine. And what I do, I just take 2 of the trichlor tablets. They're just basically large 3-inch hockey puck size chlorine tablets, and I drop 1 in each skimmer, and that'll be enough to sanitize my pool until water temperature goes up above 60, 70 degrees, and then the saltwater chlorinator will start producing chlorine. All right, it is a little bit more expensive for the initial cost. I think that it added $1,500 to our overall cost of the pool. That is one luxury item that we did decide to go with, so we went ahead and did that. All right. So with chlorine, the price of chlorine, it can get kind of expensive. All right. So one of my neighbors, she's got a chlorine pool, or she had one. She converted to saltwater recently, but she was telling me she was spending a few $100s just on chlorine every season. Okay, so you take that into consideration. Saltwater. Once you initially charge your pool, that means whatever size pool you have, you got to put a certain amount of bags of salt in there. Once you do that, you really don't have to be adding too much salt. Maybe at the beginning of the pool season, if the water's been diluted by the rain over the winter and snow, and then you're constantly pumping out water, then you might have to add a few bags, 2, 3, 4 bags at the beginning of the season, but that's pretty much it. All right, so overall cost of salt water is not that much, it's really not that much more expensive. Now, As far as chemicals, you do have to, even with the saltwater pool, you still need to buy chemicals. You'll need a water clarifier. I buy a bottle of it. I think I have one right here. Yeah. All right, so one of these bottles right here, it's a flocculant pool water clarifier. I think this is about $8 or $9 from Walmart or Home Depot, and I usually buy one of these every probably 2 seasons. So this whole thing will last me 2 seasons, maybe even 3 seasons. Okay. So an algicide, I think I just ran out of algicide. You got to add, for my size pool, I got a 12,000 gallon, give or take 500 gallons here and there. I have to add about 1 ounce of pool algicide every week, because if I don't, I will get algae buildup in my pool. All right, one of those bottles will last about a season. All right, and I think they're about a little bit more expensive, like 10 or 12 bucks for a bottle. All right, cyanuric acid. Cyanuric acid you also have to add to a pool. Basically, it's a chlorine stabilizer. What that means is it protects your chlorine from getting cooked off by the sun. The sun's rays will actually degrade chlorine, so you have cyanuric acid, or CYA, and this basically will help your chlorine last longer in your pool. One of these bags is probably like 13, 15 bucks, and it probably lasts about maybe a season and a half, so that's not too expensive. With saltwater pools, you do have to constantly balance the water. You have a spike in the pH levels. So what you got to do is you got to add a little bit of acid to lower those levels to the optimum range. Okay, so that cost, you get like 2 1-gallon bottles of acid from Home Depot. It's just muriatic acid, same stuff they clean brick and other masonry with, but you can also use it as a pool water stabilizer. You can get 2 bottles of that for like 10 bucks at Home Depot, and I probably have to buy that 3 or 4 times a season. Okay, so I'm always adding like maybe a cup, 2 cups every 3 days with my pool. All right, so it is something that you got to keep an eye on. All right, so that does add to your annual cost. That's pretty much it as far as chemicals that I have to add in my pool. All right, you do want to invest in some type of pool water test kit. All right, so they got a couple different kinds. Let me see. There's more than a couple different kinds, but I use, there's 2 basic kinds. This is the real simple one that most homeowners will probably use if they test their own water. All you do, you take one of these test strips and you drop it in the water. All right, you take it out and then you compare the different colors. The water will cause the, let me see if you can see that. Come on, focus, focus, focus. All right, well anyways, all right, so you basically compare it to the label here and it'll tell you what your levels are of the different chemicals. Okay, now this gives you a ballpark figure. It is very easy. It's relatively close, so it's good enough for most homeowners, right? You also have one of these Taylor test kits. It's a 5-way water test kit. You basically add pool water in there, and then you drop some of these different bottles of chemicals they got. They're reagents, all right? And basically, you'll test your pH, your chlorine levels, your free chlorine levels, your bromine levels, and gives you a much more accurate condition of your water, all right? So you can also take your water to a pool store, all right? They'll test your water for free. I don't know of any pool store that actually charges you to test the water, but you can take it there, take a little sample there, and they'll test your water for free and tell you what chemicals that you need. All right. Yeah, those are the basic chemicals that you would need as a homeowner to put in your pool. All right. So for a saltwater pool, if you need to add salt, 1 bag of salt is usually around $7, $8 at Walmart or Home Depot. And I usually keep around 3 or 4 bags of those ready for the season, just in case I get a lot of water in there and dilutes it, and then I got to add more. Okay, so but it's not gonna kill you, 3 or 4 bags, right? So overall, the cost, you're talking about $150 a season for pool chemicals for a saltwater pool. Now for chlorine, because those chlorine tabs, those trichlor tabs are kind of expensive, it is going to cost a little bit more. So yeah, my neighbor, she told me I think she spent like $400 a season on the trichlor tabs. Now this year, 2021, there's a shortage of chlorine tabs, all right, due to the pandemic, supply and demand and all that. It kind of like killed a lot of the production capabilities of not just pool products, but products all across this whole spectrum. I mean, supply and demand, the pandemic, laws of physics, Pythagorean's theorem, whatever, conflict in the Middle East, it gives them a reason to jack up prices on something. So keep that in mind. Now, because I have a saltwater pool, I didn't have a problem getting chlorine. I know several people that have pools, and they all told me the same thing. They had issues trying to locate chlorine. All right, the chlorine tabs. All right, so bleach. Chlorine is the same stuff that's in bleach. You can use regular bleach to disinfect your pool. It's not as strong as pool chlorine, all right, but you can use that, all right. You basically just take like a gallon and dump it along the sides, test your water. If you need more, just keep adding, but that chlorine is like bleach is considered weak chlorine, so you would probably be adding several gallons of that and testing it. I don't know what the proper ratio is off the top of my head, but that is a way you can sanitize your pool. All right, now paying a pool company. If you don't want to mess around with it, if you don't have the time and you have the money to do it, you can pay a pool company to open your pool, close your pool, and in between service your pool on a weekly basis. The cost for that, it's as low as, depending on what services you ask for, as low as $500 all the way up to like $4,000 a season. Okay, so for the very basics, what they do is they'll open your pool up in the beginning of the season, add all the chemicals, balance the water, and then weekly they'll come and clean your pool out, add the proper chemicals, and test it until the end of the season, and they close it. And for service like that, that's probably anywhere from $2,500 to $4,000, depending on the size of your pool. All right, that's another factor. Now, if you do that yourself, it's not that hard to do it. Learn how to do it, practice, and then all of a sudden you'll get pretty good at it. I mean, that's what I do. I don't like paying people for work that I can do by myself. I have the time to do it. I don't have to worry too much, about screwing anything up. I can read and follow directions. It's really easy to do pool care. So yeah, you got to balance the water. You got to clean the pool. You got to skim it with a net. Basically take out all the pieces of debris, and then you got to vacuum your pool. They say you got to do that once a week, but I do it more often. I do it all the time whenever I'm going to go inside the pool. I don't want to be swimming in the pool full of like leaves and dead bugs and stuff like that, because you'll get a lot of that. So yeah, it takes like 15 minutes, not even 10 minutes, to take that brush, or I'm sorry, take that net and go ahead and take out all the debris, whatever's in there. Brushing your pool, you do got to use a pool brush. You got to brush your pool, they say, at least once a week. I do it probably 2-3 times a week, and also as needed. If I can see that there's something down there that needs to be brushed into the drains, and let the pool filters take care of it. All right, and then vacuum the pool. Minimum once a week. You are going to get a lot of debris in there, trust me. All right, wind blows, animals will fall in there and die. I've had chipmunks in there, mice, moles, frogs. I didn't know frogs can drown, but yeah, we get a lot of frogs that die in the pool. All right, so you got to constantly clean that pool. All right, get your family members involved. If you've got kids, train them how to clean that pool. All right. I pretty much do the pool care myself. I don't mind doing it. I like doing it. It's part of landscaping. I love working outside in my backyard, so I really don't mind doing pool maintenance. For me, it's it's almost like therapy, I guess. All right. Now, you do also have some issues that might arise. Like you got to clean your pool filters at least once a year. At a minimum, you got to clean your pool filters when you close your pool. When you close it up, take the paper cartridge filters out, hose them down, clean them. I mean, they get all kinds of muck in there. They get dirt, debris, dead animals, dead bugs. The smaller stuff that'll pass through the baskets. The baskets are your initial filters. Sunblock, any type of oils like that, and it actually gets pretty nasty. Those pool filters will last, they say 2 to 5 years. I'm going on my 4th season, and my pool filters look almost brand new. Okay, so but they say that they last 2 to 5 years depending on your water conditions and stuff like that. And to replace them, they are kind of expensive. I always wait to buy stuff they go on sale. I've seen them on sale, all 4 of them, for about 80 bucks. All right, so I'm going on my 4th season, and they look brand new. Right, when they start to actually like disintegrating, they're like a real thick paper cartridge filter. They're almost like those real like almost like the air filter in your car. All right. If you see the fibers start fraying all over the place, that's how you know that you have to replace them. So mine are actually in pretty good shape. I don't have to worry about that. All right. Again, if you pay a pool service company to do that, they'll do that for free, but they do upcharge you on replacement stuff like that. All right. And if something goes wrong with your pool equipment once the warranty's out, you can always look on YouTube, and there's someone out there that probably had an issue, and they'll either show you how to fix it or replace it, or at a minimum identify the problem. Then you can call a pool company and say, hey, this is what's going on in my pool, can you go ahead and fix it? All right, so some factors involved. All right, now so yeah, those are some of the cost factors of it that you have to take into consideration. All right, so we talked about the cost of owning a pool. In-ground concrete pools, they can cost, depending on where you live, for like mid-Atlantic region where I live in Maryland, you're talking about minimum $29,000 for your very basic pool, all the way up to, you know, 50,000, and then all the way up to hundreds of thousands depending on how crazy you go. All right, but for real basic pool, my pool was like in the 30,000 price range, mid-30s. All right, so other factors to consider: safety. All right, if you have small kids, all right, you have to teach them how to swim. You have to teach them water survival skills. Okay, you have pets. Keep an eye on your pets. Pets will drown, even though they can swim. Most dogs and cats know how to swim. They will get tired, and eventually, you know, they can drown in there. So you got to take that into consideration. Here in Maryland, the regulations for having a pool installed, they vary by county. They go by county, right? In Harford County, where I live, you have to have a fence completely surrounding your backyard where your pool is, or just your pool, or it has to be minimum 4 feet high. Every exit from your house that leads to the pool has to have some type of pool alarm, like some kind of chime or whatever, to let you know that someone's going back there. All right. Those are the very basics. All right. Now, also, they do sell these. It's like a swim pool alarm, where basically if it detects a splash in the water, it'll alert you to say that, hey, there's movement in the water. You go check out and see what's going on. All right. But yeah, take that in consideration. So my pool is, I already mentioned, it's 3.5 feet in the shallow end, 6 feet in the deep end. All right. Little kids, even though, you know, even if they know how to swim, you gotta watch your kids if you have a swimming pool. All right. Yeah, a lot of kids, a lot of people die every year from accidental drownings in pools. All right, so that's real important. Take that in consideration. All right. Other factors taken into consideration is if you're not going to pay a pool company to do it, the maintenance. Who's going to do it? You can't let your pool be stagnant. That's the worst thing you can do for your pool. The more, believe it or not, the more use you get out of your pool, the more you use the pool, the better condition the water is going to be in. Or you want to agitate that water so that you actually encourage the filters to filter out all the particles, the debris, whatever's in there. Right? If you don't have time to, maintain your pool, if you don't have time to go in your pool, it's probably not a good idea to invest that money. All right. In that regards, it's a horrible return in your investment. All right, so talk it over with your family. People, especially kids, they'll get bored right away. I use my pool all the time. One of the best feelings, especially in the hot, humid summers in Maryland, one of the best feelings ever after I'm done cutting my grass, doing yard work, rinsing off and jumping right in the pool. Best feeling in the world. All right, so think about that. Are you going to take the time? Are you going to have the time to enjoy your pool? If not, you're better off maybe just going over to local pool club or whatever and use your pool, once a month or whatever. All right. Now, some other advantages of having your own pool. Last year and this year, because of the pandemic, a lot of the pools, at least all the pools in Maryland were closed. Okay, so it's very convenient to have your own pool. You can just jump right in and enjoy yourself. All right. A lot of issues with businesses being closed down the past year and a half. All right. Real convenient to have your own pool. Thinking about that. All right. If you're someone that likes to entertain family, friends, neighbors, whatever, pool's a great way to do it. Me personally, I don't like entertaining people. And no offense, I kind of just like to use the pool as my time my way to relax. All right, cool down and relax. All right, but yeah, if you're that type, you like to entertain, having a swimming pool, awesome way to entertain your neighbors, family, friends, whatever. I like to grill outside all the time. I'm next to the pool, while I'm grilling food, waiting for it to burn. I just jump in my pool, cool down a little bit. All right, it's one of the best feelings in the world. Landscaping, having a swimming pool as part of your landscaping, it might complement your landscape, your house. So you can enjoy that too just by watching your pool. My wife loves to do that. Just sit outside and stare at the pool, how it complements our landscaping and stuff like that. So yeah, overall, I enjoy having the pool. I like it. I have no regrets at all. It's going on my 4th season. Summers here in Maryland, sometimes there's like a cycle. Whether or not you believe in global warming, climate change, whatever you want to call it. The past I would say 2 years, we've had some pretty hot summers, more hot than usual. Feels good. A couple years before that, when I think the first season we got our pool, there was only like 2 weeks of really, really hot, intense heat where it actually felt good having a pool. The rest of that summer was cool. All right, but weather is constantly changing. Well, whatever, you can believe whatever you want. So one year you might have a cool summer, next year you'll have a really hot summer. But whatever. But for the most part, I enjoy my pool. I would say from Memorial Day all the way up to at least September here in Maryland. All right. Now take that into consideration where you live. The further south you go, obviously the more hot and humid it is. Yeah, having a pool is definitely a must. I would say even in Pennsylvania, you'll get pretty good up north. Pennsylvania, you'll get pretty good use of having your own swimming pool. All right. So overall, I have no regrets, but there are a lot of cons of owning a swimming pool. Right. When you have a swimming pool, it's the constant maintenance and monitoring of that pool, even in the off season. So you close your pool, you cover it up. Here in Harford County, you have to have a safety cover. Okay. Now, the safety cover really only prevents, basically kids and pets from getting in the pool and drowning. All right, but you still have to do maintenance in the off season. The safety cover does not prevent water from going in your pool from when it rains and snows. So you have to constantly monitor that water level. If it gets so high, it gets above your skim lines, the water can actually find a way to penetrate inside your lines that you've closed off for the season. If water gets in there and pushes out your insurance antifreeze, it could freeze and crack your pipes. Okay, so last season during the winter, I was out there when it's like, below 30 degrees pumping out water. All right, it might rain for 2 days, temperature will be above 32 degrees, it'll rain, and then the next couple days, temperature will plummet down to like 10 degrees. I'm out there in the freezing cold, pumping out water from my pool. Very important that you do that. You got to constantly monitor that level. All right. I basically go by whether or not it rains, all right, or snows when the snow melts. That's how I monitor the pool level. If I know if it rained, pretty good steady rain for a day or whatever, I'll go and I'll open up part of that pool cover, drop my sump pump in there, and pump out that water enough to get it below the skim line. All right. So, but for the most part during the off season, that's really all you have to monitor. You might want to also, if you have a way to check your pipes, make sure there is no water intrusion in your pipes. All right. All right. So other cons. For me, pool maintenance is not a con. It's more of a pro. I enjoy doing pool maintenance, but for some of you guys out there, you might consider it or think of it as a pain in the ass. All right. What else? The debris from your landscaping, your trees. If you've got a lot of trees surrounding your pool, you might want to think about, cutting back those trees, removing those trees, or just trimming it so that you don't have a whole bunch of debris falling in there. It does make your pool a lot easier, right? We used to have a huge flowering poplar tree, I forgot what it's called. It basically stood above our pool. It was a towering tree. It shaded the pool, but it dropped a lot of debris in our pool. I was constantly cleaning that pool out. I mean, it was a pain, and also to block the sun from heating up the pool. Then all of a sudden, I think it was the first summer we had the pool, maybe. It was either first or second summer, lightning struck that tree, and it broke that tree in half, fell in our pool, destroyed our solar pool cover, did cause a little bit of damage, but we ended up taking the rest of the tree down, all right? So, but yeah, that was actually, in one ways, it was a blessing in disguise, all right? But that tree is out of there, it no longer blocks the sun, and it heats up our pool for free. And our pool is ready to go in, early on in the season. So, oh yeah, so if you are not a homeowner, or you're looking to buy a new home, and you're maybe looking to get a home that has a pool, all right? Same thing. This also applies whether you're looking to get a house with a pool or not, all right? These are some of the things to take into consideration. Also, when we got our pool installed, I had to call the insurance company and let them know, the homeowner's insurance company, and let them know that we were getting a pool installed. And they asked me for all the specifics, the size of the pool, the depth, whether or not it could be a diving board and all that. And then they actually did raise our homeowner's insurance up like almost $300 a year, okay? The price does fluctuate. If you have a deeper pool with a diving board, I think it is going to be even more expensive. So that's another added cost, okay? As far as how would you pay for your pool? Several different ways. You can either get a home equity loan. You can pay out of pocket, if you have the money. You can get a home improvement loan. You can use a credit card if you got that much credit, available. I recommend using a home equity loan. You get the best rates, and you can, write off on your taxes. So yeah, think about that. There are all these different factors involved when getting a pool. All right. All right. Also, one thing: are you gonna get your money back when you buy your pool and sell your house? It all depends on the market, all right? The market is influenced by numerous things. It's no longer just about supply and demand anymore. A lot of it is speculation. A lot of it is just media hype, all right? That fuels the housing market, all right? The pandemic as well. So the way I look at it is you'll get your money back if you can sell your house to someone that wants a house with a pool. Then they're willing to pay for it, all right? If you get someone that likes your house but doesn't like the pool, they're really not going to probably negotiate much with you as far as being beneficial to you. So that's a whole different conversation. We can talk another hour or so about that, whether or not you get your money back. I think right now in 2021 housing market's pretty hot. Yeah, you'll get your money back, but it's all due to numerous other factors, all right? As far as like getting a pool installed in your backyard, all these different factors consider. Your landscaping, you want to first of all, can your yard fit your pool? So I have about a half acre of land on my property. I've got a detached workshop, which I'm in right now. I got a potting shed, and we used to have a fish pond, and I didn't think there's going to be enough room to put a pool in there. I argued with my wife about it. In the end, she was right. There was enough pool. That pool company actually had really, really small, almost like micro machine type earth movers. They went in there, and those guys were good. They were pros at it. They were able to maneuver in there, and they did a really good job of avoiding destroying my landscaping, my plants. They didn't hit my house or anything like that. But yeah, they did a real good job, very professional. I was very happy with my pool company. Those guys knew what they were doing. Other factors, obviously you got to check with you. If you have an HOA, you got to check with them, see what regulations they have. So initially what they do with the pool company, they'll come out and they'll do measurements. They'll measure everything. They've done this a million times. They know what they're doing. And then they'll figure out what type of machinery you can get back there, what they're going to have to do and stuff. Then they'll go over with you. They'll give you plans, and they'll kind of like give you a representation of what they're going to do. So they're going to destroy your backyard, all right? And they have to dig up your yard. Now, like I said, the pool company that I used, they did a good job of avoiding unnecessary damage. They're really good and knew how to maneuver their equipment. All right, but I mean, I'm telling you, the backyard, I got some pictures I'll try to upload, show you, but it was almost kind of scary, all right? But yeah, it was only like that for maybe, I would say 4 weeks, 5 weeks, because they were real quick. This was pre-pandemic, all right? So they were to put, they designed the pool, dug up the ground and put the pool in, and I was able to basically, I think it was like 5 or 6 weeks and they were done. All right, now I'm hearing that there's a backlog in pool construction. One of my friends, coworkers, he had a pool installed, and he was, after they signed the contract, they couldn't even start for like 3 months because there's numerous reasons, because the pandemic. They couldn't get pool components, just parts, because a lot of stuff is made in China. All kinds of issues going on with production and stuff like that. So there's a delay in just getting pool parts, equipment, materials over. All right. But yeah, take that in consideration. Do your research. Don't settle with one pool company. Get several estimates. Get it itemized so they can show you what exactly is going to be done, how much labor they're going to be charging you for, and the price of materials. All right. Different types of pool companies out there. So you have some pool companies that might do everything in-house themselves. All right. My company was a landscaping company that also did pools, and they were able to do just about 90% of all the stuff themselves. And I think they only had to hire one subcontractor to do the electrical work, and that was it. There are other pool companies that they're basically just general contractors, and they know who the people to go to. They'll subcontract all the work out, and then you'll have someone who's in between. They're a pool company, and they might subcontract half the stuff out and do some other stuff in-house. All right. I think there's better quality control if you utilize a company that does everything, or as much as possible, in-house. That's just my opinion. I've heard horror stories about these subcontractors that basically it's hard to arrange for, because getting a pool install is all about timing. You got to have everything timed right. And I've heard horror stories about these subcontractors delaying 1 or 2 days, then it's going to delay the next one and the next one, and the next one. If you do everything in-house, then they can pretty much consolidate everything and stick to the schedule. So that's why I recommend. You might end up paying more, but hey, it's all about, at that point, about personal preference, what you're comfortable with. Okay. So I can't think of anything else off the top of my head right now, but I'm sure I'll think about other stuff later on. But yeah, if you are a pool owner or have owned a pool in the past, comment in the comment section about other stuff that you might expect when having a pool or getting a pool installed. All right. Right now, it's a tough time just to find a company that can come in here and get a pool installed and everything because of all the issues going on. But yeah, overall, I don't have any regrets at all. Talking to a lot of other pool owners, I would say about half of them have regrets. Some of them have no regrets, but say they would never do it again. Me personally, next house I buy, if it doesn't have a pool, I will gladly pay the money again and have a pool installed. That's just me personally. All right. Especially since I'm planning on moving south, later on in the future, where it's going to be even more hot and humid. So I think having a pool is an awesome feature to have. I consider myself very fortunate to have a pool. So again, if any pool owners out there, you have any comments, or if you want to add something, or if you have any, whatever it is, feel free, comment away. All right. Hope this video helps some of you guys out. Maybe it'll persuade you to buy a pool or not. I don't know. Let me know. All right. I'd love to hear your comments. All right.